What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? It's the kid Fort Worth, Fabian, BigBossFabo. I'm back with a video for you guys, man. And right now, I'm reacting to active self-protection, man. Some active self-protection videos, which are self-defense videos. I used to do reactions like these a while ago. Now I'm back into them, man. So definitely support the platform, support the channel, man. Peace, love to everybody rocking with the channel. As you join the live stream, do me that favor and hit the like button. Super chat is open, man. Please donate to the channel. You can donate using super chat. You can donate through the direct PayPal link. You can find the link within the description of the video down below. So I'm going to give it a few seconds to let people funnel in if they choose to join this live stream. But yeah, man, we're going to be reacting to several videos today, man. I have the donations link up. So do me that favor, man. Yeah, so without further ado, let's hop into some active self-protection reactions, man. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter at Fort Worth Fabian. This is the road to 1 million subscribers, man, on this platform. Peace, love to everybody who watches and who rocks with the channel. You know what I mean? So let's get to it, you. Give me 1 second, actually. Be wondering what it'd be like to put myself on this side.
Doesn't allow you to have tools. They can't take away.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Bro, I'm testing out a new streaming setup here, and it's kind of throwing me off, so bear with me.
Even in a town that doesn't allow you to have tools, they can't take away Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary. Welcome to today's active self-protection lesson. I'm your host, John Correa. Today's video comes to us from San Francisco, California in the United States and was sent to me by the good guy in this video. Today's video is brought to you thanks to MagTech Ammunition, the official ammunition supplier for all range activities of active self-protection. Please make sure to go watch the interview with Will on this one. He is the guy in the green coat and the brown pants on the right.
Hold up.
Right-hand side. He is out on a first date with the gal who is in the red boots, who you can just barely see. And when that gal decided to go down to the concierge, yes, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, you can see in the upper right-hand corner, to go check on an Amazon package, this is what they found down there. She lives in a very nice apartment in San Francisco. When they went down there, they found this dude who's drunk and complaining that the concierge won't give him his package. And when Will's like, oh, I get it, man, it's cool, he starts calling her racial epithets and calling her racial slurs, which, of course, then this girl's like, oh, man, I'm not having it. And Will's like, hey, man, that's not cool, dude. You got to watch that. You can't do that. That's not how we operate. But, of course, the guy's drunk, and so he's going to get belligerent here. And as he's starting to get belligerent, what he's going to do is go over to this guy's date and put his hands on her. And Will's like, no, I'm not doing that. What you can see here now is he is going to take control of this.
Wow. This guy must be super belligerent to do all that.
To get belligerent, what he's going to do is go over to this guy's date and put his hands on her, and was like, no, I'm not doing that. What you can see here now is he is going to take control of this guy. He's got a pretty significant martial arts background from when he is young, and he's taken a lot of years of that stuff, so he's going to hold this guy down. Had said, man, I knew the guy was drunk, I knew it wasn't in danger, I knew it wasn't really that dangerous to me.
He keeps flinging him around, though.
And here's trying to hold him down. Now, I've sped it up just for the sake of time. He's going to hold him down for quite a bit. Not going to be able to get him to actually go out here. So eventually he's like, look, my glasses got knocked off, and I'm going to want to get out of there and get disconnected from this guy so that I don't get hurt and he doesn't get hurt. So he's going to go and grab his glasses, and the guy's going to take another swing at him here, but he's going to be able to pretty easily hold him off and now take his date. And he's like, hey, go out of here. Now, there's a couple ways into this building. So he's going to try to get her around, and she says, wait a minute, what about the concierge? And he's going to tell her, no, get out of here. I want you out of here because that's causing me to have to really think about some things. They're going to go around the other side of the building. Concierge is going to keep some distance here while this guy is arguing while she's on the phone with the cops. Now, if you see, he goes around the other side, too, to kind of see if he can get at them again. And Will actually uses a tactical flashlight there with a strobe feature to push that guy back, and it actually worked. You can see him. He's like, oh, man, I don't want any of that or whatever. So now what's going to happen is he's going to continue to yip at the concierge. She went back into the back room that you can just barely see there. So he's going to tear a couple things up and go stumbling off a little bit. Now, Will, in the interim, has gone and gotten his date back to her apartment and back to safety before he is going to come back here and check in on the concierge, make sure she's okay, make sure she hasn't, been hurt by the guy or whatever. And notice it again, the police may be on the way, but they're taking forever. That's kind of one of the lessons that we're going to learn here. And what I want you to see is our drunk comes back again, and Will and the concierge go back in this room, and they lock the door. So they put up a very effective barrier between them and this drunk, who's then gonna, knock around a little bit more, decide to try to pull his pants up some more and re-zip his pants or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what the heck he's doing here. And then he's gonna finally grow weary of all of this stuff. And from what I heard, again, go watch the news story with Will. They did call the cops. Cops did end up showing up, and they did get this guy arrested. So guess what? Now Will's just going to hang out with this lady in the interim, make sure that he doesn't come back and cause her any problems, which he doesn't. And make sure you go watch the interview with Will. It's really incisive and really kind of interesting to hear his perspective on things. And that is where this one ends. Pretty crazy stuff and some significant lessons out of this one. Do you want to get better with your self-defense? Join us in the Cover Your Asp tour. We're all over the country, all the time here in the U.S. Hit the link in the description. Find out when we will be in your area and come and train with us. Let's get to the lessons. So our first lesson here is you really never know what you're going to walk in on. You really got to recognize that your attitude and skills and plan must be decided in advance. And if you have a high level of skill set and you have the ability to defend yourself in significant ways, then you can insert yourself in these kind of instances if you choose to. But you want to check your boundaries ahead of time, and you want to have these things worked out in your soul. So then wait a minute, who am I going to step into? What are the kind of things I'm going to step into? What are the things I'm not? Because a lot of people would look at this and say, that's not my circus and those are not my monkeys. And that's kind of Will's attitude as well, and mine too. However, when he started hurling racial epithets and those kind of things, it was like, hey man, that's not cool. We don't treat people that way. And some people, and I'm one of them, I probably do the same, depending on who I'm with and what's going on. Now then, he's just dealing with a drunk. So having some verbal judo skills here, really good. A really good idea to be able to say, hey man, it's cool. Let's you and I talk. Let's you and I get out of here because that's not a cool way to be or whatever. And recognizing that when you're dealing with a drunk, you are not dealing with a rational, logical person. And that's where that's at. Now, let's think about some significant challenges that we have here. And the first one that I see is that his date is kind of clueless. And I'm sure she's a nice gal, but she, went on the other side and allowed this drunk to get between her and her date. And of course, it's one of the things that Will and I talked about is positioning yourself such that the people that you need to defend, you are there. But you're in a tough spot here because if he moves from here, that guy can easily get around and get the concierge and be a physical threat to her. So you got to recognize that sometimes you're not going to be able to do that. But teaching your loved ones, and I get it, it's a first date, not all that is to be. Because the problem here is that he ends up putting his hands on her, and there's nothing that Will can do to get inside that and get between them that quickly. However, this is a firm boundary. You put your hands on somebody that...
I probably would have turned up too. I ain't gonna lie. That's just wild to me for him to feel comfortable to put his arms around her throat and stuff like that. But he do kind of got a good point in terms of separation and placement.
I am interested in. You put your hands on me or on mine, and I'm going to respond to that without any question. That's exactly what he does here. So knowing where those boundaries are and enforcing those boundaries is a part of active self-protection. Now, I do think that it's a really good thing here that he takes that guy aside, and you notice that he uses that face push to push the guy's face away. One of the things you learn grappling, jiu-jitsu, martial arts, those kinds of things, is that when you control somebody's face, you control which way they go. And by pushing and turning their head away from you, you can make them go in a lot of different directions. Now, Will did say, hey, listen, I didn't see any weapons on this guy. I felt like I could control him without hurting him. And man, when you have a high level of skill and you can do that, that's really primo self-defense right there. Some of us wouldn't have done that or whatever, but in his ability to control this guy here without being in significant danger himself, He's in a good spot, even though he had his glasses knocked up there. He's not in a bad spot. Now, he knocks this guy over, but he's going to have a very hard time with him here. And it's one of the things that he said, man, I need to get some more submission skills and some more ability to choke a guy out, so then that way I can get him to stop fighting me without hurting him. That's an excellent thing. And knowing how to do that and to get those kind of things, to get that rear naked sunk in so that you're not sitting here futzing around with this guy would have been a very good idea. Now he backs away from him because he's like, look, I don't want to continue on with this guy. And now he's got to deal with him coming and punching him again. And one of the things that he did notice is that Will said, listen, the fact that my date was still standing there instead of getting the heck out of the danger zone meant I had to significantly think about her. So friends, hear me. Tell your loved ones that if something goes down, their job is either to help you if they have the skill set to do so that you can work together and be more successful, or at the very least, to get the heck out of there and to get completely out of the danger zone so that you don't have to consider them in your defense.
So I'm sure this dude watches John's videos, you know what I mean, for him to obviously know where to directly send this footage when he obtained it. But, you know, he probably over here going through the, you know, the rendition or pretty much the checklist of what to do in a self-protection type of situation. And he's like, oh, you know, losing points here and there. But yeah, baby girl was just chilling. She like, what is you doing? She just watching, you know. She definitely should have stepped outside or something, or got on the phone with the police. I don't know if they had already called them or the concierge already called, but he do make a solid point.
Plan again in
Hit
any
that like
capacity.
button,
now he's
man.
able to
If you
get this
just
guy
joined the
off
live
him pretty
stream,
quick.
hit the like button.
Now he takes his date and he's like, hey, I want you to get the heck out of here. Let's go around the other side of the building. And she's going to argue with him. So I do think it's important for you to tell even those who you are dating, listen, we got
5 people in the live stream, man. Everybody hit the like button. We should have 5 likes. Hit the like button.
Have an emergency word and the ability to say, listen to me and don't argue with me. In my world, it's the word emergency. So when my family hears me say emergency, they don't argue with me anymore. Now, interesting one here. This is the very first time caught on camera that I have seen a defensive flashlight actually used in a defensive encounter. And this was an excellent use. This guy kind of trying to come at them. And again, this is not a guy who's actively trying to punch you in the face, but it's a guy who's getting aggressive. And that strobe flashlight, that really bright light, and he actually showed.
So that's supposed to be the gentleman who was defending himself the whole time. He had a strobe light because homie came prepared. I'll tell you that. At first, I thought it was the feds.
Showed it in the interview. I think it's an 800 lumen light. Really did a good job of keeping that guy at bay because see him kind of flinch back a little bit and not advance on him. Instead, having bright lumens themselves can be used as a defensive tool. Will did a really good job of that. Here's why I really encourage everybody to carry the biggest, brightest, best flashlight that they can, because it can be a very powerful force multiplier, especially in places like San Francisco where you're really not allowed to carry a significant defensive toolkit on your person. Like, you know, a firearm in San Francisco, almost impossible to carry, but a flashlight, no big deal. Now then, he does a good job of getting his gal off into safety and getting her back to her apartment where she's not going to get accosted by this dude anymore. Then he comes to check on the guy, which I think is gallant and very, you know, kind and good of him. But I think the one thing that I do want to say towards the end here, that when this drunk shows back up, I think they did something very wise. Instead of going and confronting him, they get behind this door and put up a barrier between them. Absolutely best thing to do is get out of the danger zone. And if you can get that guy to be what we call out of contact, that phrase I learned from Skip Hancock, being out of contact, that he can't touch you, he can't get a hold of you, whatever, then he'll just give up and go find something else to do. And that's exactly what our bad guy did in this instance. So I think there's a ton of lessons here about defending yourself with your hands, about having a significant grappling skill set as well as a grounded fighting skill set. I think understanding where your boundaries are is a big part of this. Carrying your tools on you, including a good defensive flashlight, is, I think, a great lesson out of here. Communicating well with the people in your life so that they know what to do as well in a defensive encounter all come into play here. Make sure, again, you go and watch the interview with Will. It's really insightful and really good, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. He did a very good job. Good job, man, covering your ass.
I've got no type of grappling skills, no type of takedown skills. I mean, I'll just whatever's natural, whatever comes in that moment. You know, if I'm trying to defend a loved one, obviously you got to handle business, you know. But this dude was like an ex-martial artist, you know. So I'm sure his whole repertoire is completely different. Let me know y'all's thoughts on this video, man, in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe, man. We're on to the next video. He covered his ass. So this one is a skilled defender absolutely owns a belligerent stranger, man.
Today's video reminds us that if you're high on meth, it's not wise to mess with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Ha 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 ha. He said if you high on meth, don't mess with a black belt. You think?
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on today's active self-protection lesson. I'm your host, John Correa. Today's video comes to us from Tampa, Florida in the United States, was actually sent to me by the good guy in this video. Today's video is brought to you by the generosity of Newbold targets. Newbold targets are self-sealing, reactive polymer targets that act like steel targets for training and practice, but are safer than steel. They allow bullets to pass completely through the target without ricochet or lead splatter. Check out their links in the description and thank them for bringing us today's video. There's all kinds of setup to this one from the video that we have that is important, and you can get it all on the interview that I did with Christopher on Active Self-Protection Extra. There's a link in the description as well as a card up here, and I want you to know that context. So this perp who is on the right has been acting crazy, showing all the signs of a psychotic episode. Christopher says that. He's an ER nurse. He's in a position to know what that looks like. And he has actually dropped his pants a couple times and showed his genitals to Christopher's 19-year-old daughter. And now was threatening the 70...
Oh, nah, it's pure smoke after that, bro. He's showing his genitals to his daughter. I'm gonna knock him out. Come on, man. How did you high... This looks like the middle of the day. How's you high on meth this early, bro? He had like a wake and bake session or whatever they said he was on. I don't know. He ain't at it.
A some-odd-year-old across the street neighbor. That made Christopher say, nope, I'm going to have to step in and put this guy to sleep and get him to not be a threat anymore. That's where this picks up. We do have audio. Let's listen in.
Stop. Go home. Yes, this is my dad. This is my dad. They're fighting right now. My dad just... I'm 19.
Jeez, what is you trying to fight him for? He clearly got you pinned, my boy.
Good, I'm good.
He said, I'm good.
On camera. Okay.
I'm recording the thing.
Are you done? Are you done?
Yeah.
He's done.
Wait for the cop. I don't know what your problem is.
Okay,
What's your
fine.
problem?
It's fine.
You threatened my daughter again. You're lucky I don't kill you. Do you understand? You're lucky I don't kill you. It's my dad. Listen, you come, you assault me, you bother people, you're lucky I don't kill you. You understand?
He's on the floor. He's fine. He's calm.
We're gonna wait for the police now.
They're fine. My dad's in a...
Why he's straddling him? Get off him,
I
bro.
could hurt you now. I could kill you. You understand?
It's
You
back
came
in the
over?
house.
You aggressed
And
my
we're
daughter.
outside in the
I could kill you
grass,
for that alone.
so it's not on him at all.
I'm not gonna hurt you, but if you try to get up,
Christopher told me in our interview on Active Self-Protection Extra that he sat here with this guy for 20 minutes waiting for police to arrive.
Wow.
And the fact is that they had another priority call in that moment. And then this guy was taken for a 3-day psych hold and then released without charges. No charges ended up being filed in here. That's okay. I think at the end of the day, that's where this one ends. Pretty crazy stuff, all things considered. I'm wondering what your thoughts are. Do you think it was wise of him to wait until the guy punched him in order to get going, or should he have been preemptive? Really be interested in your thoughts there. I think it gave him all of the justification in the world, but I don't know that he absolutely needed to do it, and maybe it was a little dangerous, but he sure was, absolutely confident in his abilities. So let's think about some other lessons out of this one. Really good fundamental self-defense here from somebody who really knows what they're doing. First thing I want to talk about here is the fact that he's got his hands up and an outward posture. Hey man, I don't want any problems with you. The only way he's able to do that safely is, you notice he has some distance. He's more than an arm length away from the guy, so if the guy tries to lunge in, he can get that into a defensive fence. But here this is shown very clearly, hey, I don't want to fight you, man, and that's a real kind of a pro move. It also gives him a little bit more protection if the guy tries to wing a big roundhouse at him or something like that. Not something that I would necessarily recommend for a rookie, but for a guy with a high level of empty-handed skills, can work very, very well. So now notice he's trying to get into a place where he can control the guy. He's moving forward to try to get him to a place, and now that dude reaches out with a little left hand.
He
the reason he
connected.
reached out with the left hand is Christopher actually moved to the right a little bit to kind of encourage him to go to that side. And he said in the interview that I did with him that he was waiting for the guy to throw a punch at him just for optics sake, just so that his job, he works in an area where it's a sensitive job and he didn't want to have any problems at all with being an aggressor or anything like that. So as soon as the guy touched him in the face, now that's an assault. Now he can take steps to do that. And notice as well that he's getting a hold of the guy's hands because he knows he doesn't probably have a weapon on him. Now he's going to try to control him. And that's exactly what he does. He closes to a grappling distance because he has a high level of skill there. Standing grappling skills and grounded grappling skills, I think, are an incredibly important part of active self-protection and of being well-rounded as a self-protector. Now, clearly, this guy is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's been wrestling and boxing since he was young, so he obviously has an incredibly advanced skill set. But even having rudimentary skills, this is important because whether you're the one who chooses, I'm going to wrap this guy up so he can't throw punches at me, or the bad guy chooses to wrap you up, you got to have the ability to stand here. Now, this is what we call like a suicide takedown here. That goes to his back.
Takedown.
This is not something that I would recommend for a neophyte, not something that I'd really recommend in a street encounter for somebody who doesn't have a high level of skill. Now, he's doing that because he's using that guy's weight and he's going to throw him over the top, and he knows exactly where he's going with him because he has double overhooks and the guy's not going to be able to put any posts down. So he knows he's going to continue to use his momentum to end up in top position here. And that's what you really want on the street. You don't want to end up in bottom position on the street if you can help it. You want to stay in top position as much as you can because that's much easier to control. Now notice here he's got a pretty good choke going on the guy here, but one of the things he notices pretty quick is that he doesn't have a view of the guy's hands and control of the guy's hands. He actually said that in the interview that I did with him. Again, I really want you to watch that on Active Self-Protection Extra. It's really good and informative stuff. And he says right here, he realizes, hey man, I can't see the guy's hands. If he did have something in his pockets, that's his ability to go for it. And so because of that, I'm going to have to do something else here and move this thing around. He's going to do that with a good big jerk to get the guy moving in a position where he can and rolls him over again. But watch the hands, guys. The bad things come out of the hands. That's a principle of self-defense. The bad things come out of the hands. See him get over there, and now he is going to really get a choke going in here and get a good, solid side control base. And this is a tough spot for an untrained person to be in, and I'm glad that the bad guy is untrained here. As a good guy, what you've got is you have great weight on the guy and a really difficult time for him to buck you off. If you have good top pressure, if you have a good stable base, you can really control somebody from here, especially because of the fact that the guy can't use his hands very effectively when you have minimized space. And if he goes for a tool or something like that, you can see that coming and do stuff to stop that. Really good stuff here. Now he's going to get over into a mount position as well. And the mount position is really good, not just because it's dominant for things like chokes or stuff. I'm not talking about arm bars, or you can start breaking a guy's arms if you really want to. But even more than that is that you're covering his waistband and his pockets with your legs. If you're really low on him here and don't allow him a lot of space, again, with a good base and good pressure, he can't get to whatever's in his waist anymore. Even if they did have something there, incredibly difficult for him to get it. Yes, if he's highly trained, he might be able to, but very few people are. Then finally, I think it's fantastic that Christopher here, the guy said, okay, I'm done, I quit, and Christopher gets off him. He says, okay, man, if you quit, I'm good with it. He fought to stop the threat, not to hurt the guy. Now, I think a lot of people would have wailed a tune on the guy in this point, but instead of that, Christopher is not just an incredible self-defender, but a gentleman, and said, no, okay, my goal was to stop him. Now, the words here, I get it. He's pretty frustrated at the guy, and I totally understand that. However, maybe if we can control that, that would be a better thing, but I think he's taking out some of his frustration verbally rather than physically, and I applaud him for that. And now, last thing here, 20 minutes until the police showed up. Now, I get it. The police were on another call, but it does reinforce, as pro-law enforcement as I am, that you are the primary agent in your own self-defense, and even in a nice neighborhood, it could take you quite a long time for you to have police intervention. So you have to be prepared to deal with the threat yourself because no one is coming to help you. Thankfully, Christopher had all the attitude, skills, and plan he needed, and this is an excellent example of why I think a highly developed empty-handed skill set is so important to cover your ass.
Yeah, boy, you got to be on top of it.
Today's video reminds us that if you're high,
you got to be on top of it, you know what I mean, man? That right there is an active self-protection reaction, man. I wanted to keep it brief. I'm not going to keep it too long. I'm getting into other reactions for the remainder of the day. May go live again later, man, but I appreciate everybody who joined the live stream, man. Active self-protection be kind of like, definitely informative, so to speak. Peace, love, prosperity to everybody watching, man. Do me a favor, hit that like button. We should have 10 likes by now, but we don't. I don't know why.